Welcome to the Fellowship. I'm recording this on Saturday the 17th of May 2025. Last weekend the founding members of the Fellowship and I went down to see an interesting chap by the name of Simon. He runs the Woodlander initiative. I think his description on his YouTube channel, which I'm going to put a link to below, says off-grid dissident, which sort of sums him up quite well. It's a nice man. Interesting initiative. They've bought 3 bits of land and plan to buy more. And really he talks about how to live a different life rather than the system, the matrix that we're all sort of plugged into. So why did I do it? Well, not only is he a good chap and he subscribes to the Fellowship channel, but unashamedly he has a larger larger amount of subscribers than the Fellowship does at the moment. And we want to obviously grow the awareness of what we're doing here. We don't want to grow the channel for the sake of it. It's not monetized, I've said several times, never will be. But we just want to get the word out. And Simon was very, very courteous and very open to that idea. So we went to see him and had a good chat with him. And the video will follow this. So why did I do it? Well, I'm doing my bit. I'm trying the best I can to build this initiative, build and create 100,000 people throughout the country, talking to strangers outside the echo chamber. There's definitely a shift, isn't there? Even two-tier Kia has been saying things recently, although obviously he doesn't mean it and we don't trust him. Just like David Cameron and Angela Merkel and Sarkozy spoke about how multiculturalism doesn't work. And they said that in, I think it was 2012, something like that. And then proceeded to let millions in. So it is military grade warfare we're up against, psychological warfare. But there's definitely a shift. People are at least open to the idea. So now is the time that each and every one of us takes responsibility and has conversations on a daily basis. I know I keep on beating that drum, but that is the purpose of the Fellowship. No one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. And we can. Because England is only over when we, the English, give up on it. Same for Scotland, same for Wales, and same for Northern Ireland. Anyway, here's the video. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and see you next time. Beautiful.
Welcome to the woods. And today, something a little bit different. I'm here with a new friend, Colin, who recently started an organisation called the Fellowship. Now I'm going to hand over to Colin and he's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. So the Fellowship of the United Kingdom is a cultural organisation. We're not a political party, and we're there really to encourage conversations about the future of our country. Really focusing mainly on ethno-nationalism, which is an interesting term because ethno-nationalism was never really spoken about because it was just normal, wasn't it?
It was just part of normal life.
Yeah,
It was how we were.
Yeah, we went to France and it was full of French people. Went to Germany, it was full of
For the German
Germans.
people, yeah.
Went to Japan, it was full of Japanese. And it's really it's us emphasising the importance of individuals taking responsibility and having conversations on a one-to-one basis about ethno-nationalism with people outside of the echo chamber. So there are a lot of people, certainly on YouTube, Lotus Eaters, lots of different organisations and many more. They're having lots of excellent conversations, but they're all talking within that echo chamber. And most people don't listen, don't watch YouTube. A lot of people, as you know, still stuck to the BBC and everything else. So we just encourage individual, private conversations. And we find it's probably the safest way of doing it as well. Because a lot of people do worry about joining political parties because their information's on databases. But we don't have anyone's data. We have no idea who they are. We're just there to encourage people to have those private conversations.
So as a cultural organisation,
Yeah,
you see yourself as moving the Overton window
that's what we're
by
hoping.
talking to the normies.
Normies, yeah.
I think most people watching this will understand that. It's something I've personally spoken about before, which is it's very easy to write off the majority of the British public.
Yeah.
Especially what happened during the COVID fiasco.
Yeah.
Where 80% of the people really just towed the line.
Yeah.
Did what they were told.
Yeah.
And couldn't see outside of the box.
No.
And a lot of people our side of the fence will tell you that it's a pointless exercise talking to normies. They don't get it, or they'll agree with you 1 minute and they'll disagree with you the next.
Yeah.
They tend to reset, so they'll agree with everything you say, and then you go and meet them 2 days later.
Watch the BBC and then
that's it, and get reprogrammed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always been of the opposite opinion, because there's nobody watching this that was born our side of the fence. It took somebody to talk to them. It takes people to educate you. And it's important that we understand that you could be the person that talks at the right time to anyone.
Yeah.
And if you can bring more people to our side that realise that this country is in a dire situation,
Yeah.
then that can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
And it might mean that you talk to 10 people and only one understands. But if you keep on talking,
Yeah.
you will find more and more people. You can never find more people if you stop talking.
Absolutely. And it came out of really a frustration and an absolute desire to want to do something. And so, we could have joined, we could have joined a political party, but political parties always fall out, they always split, and different agendas come along, the one thing another. And I'm of the belief, and always have been, that personal responsibility is really everything. And if you take personal responsibility and say that you're going to do your bit to save the country and save your own future, even from a purely selfish perspective, you're on a ship. I liken a country to a ship.
Yeah.
And with the hull, and with lots of people over decades drilling small holes into the hull, it starts to sink. Well, if we stop drilling holes into the hull and start plugging it and actually start scooping the water out.
There's a few ships and boats I'd like to see sink at the moment.
Yeah.
But a different subject. I've got to say, I like your idea of personal responsibility, and I like the way that you don't collect data. There isn't a membership system.
No money. No one
and
pays us anything. We don't
and
monetize
therefore
any
it is
videos.
literally down to the individual
Yeah.
to take responsibility and actually put in some effort.
Yeah.
They don't have to. There's no rules, no guidelines. They simply talk to people and move the conversation to our side.
Yeah.
Talk about the things that actually affect us. Talk about the things that actually affect the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to a young person, you'd talk about housing
Yeah.
and the job market.
Yeah.
And if you're talking to someone older, you would talk about how their retirement's going to look.
Yeah.
And
Or what their grandchildren's future's going to be like.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. And I think it's important because a lot of people have stopped
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
They don't move it.
Yeah.
It's very easy to just end up with that same small group of people, and then nothing ever grows.
Yeah.
And the only information the public are getting
Yeah.
is from the mainstream media.
Yeah.
You're quite right in saying that most people aren't on Twitter. Most people don't watch YouTube.
No.
It's a very small audience.
Yeah. The same people subscribe to all the different same channels.
Exactly.
So,
that.
you know,
I've
people...
had this conversation
Yeah.
before with people, and it's, you know, I think nationally there's about 5,000, which is a minuscule number. You don't need many though, because what happens is the general public will switch allegiance very, very quickly when they have to. It's really down to people like ourselves to get them to understand that they have to.
I mean, we talk about helping men predominantly embracing their natural masculinity. We talk about responsibility. We talk about fear, which is a reaction. And we talk about courage, which is a decision. And it can be slightly nerve-wracking, and it can be people worry about having conversations with individuals. But the thing is, you start with a member of your family or a friend to begin with, and you get used to saying it. You get used to saying certain things. You get used to asking them questions. And asking questions is really powerful, because rather than making statements, you can just, you know, it can be anything. It could be tap water. Isn't it odd that fluoride's put in tap water? Do you know what else it's put in? No. Oh, it's put in rat poison. That's odd, isn't it? Why are they putting neotoxins in the water supply?
It now falls out the sky as well.
That's right. But it's, you know, so but it's just, and you're starting to get people to starting to think, hang on, something isn't right. And the idea being is, if we can encourage as many people as possible, and I have a target of 100,000 people throughout the country talking to one person a day about ethno-nationalism, about everything else. And I understand that we're not after a pure race, and we understand that, you know, some immigration's okay, that's fine, but it's been pushed now so fast and so quickly, in our belief, to really just undermine the country, to destroy it from within, to destroy the foundations. Like any house, you destroy the foundations, it collapses. You know, you can't usher in the New World Order if the status quo is already there. And we think that mass immigration is being used as a tool to actually destroy us from
without
within.
a doubt. It's a key element in the collapse that we're living through.
Yeah.
And these are the early stages.
Yeah.
But we can see how it's been used to divide the general population, how it's used to raise anger, how it involves violence. I mean, the Southport stabbings were horrific.
Yeah.
And these things are happening more frequently.
Yeah.
And we can see how our government cracks down on those that step outside of the current narrative.
Yeah.
I tend to think that things will get worse over the next decade, and therefore it's absolutely imperative that we offer people an alternative. And without talking to them,
Yeah.
in the very first instance, there's no contact. You can't explain anything. So we have to get back to talking to the public, to talking to people that we don't really know that well,
Yeah.
and not being afraid of putting forward a sensible point of view.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you can have those conversations. It can be down the pub. I had a chat with a man at Tesco's the other day. I was stood in the aisle, and he said, "I can't believe how expensive food is." And I says, "I know, isn't it odd that we're importing millions of people whilst at the same time paying farmers to produce less food? I wonder what the inevitable outcome is."
Yeah, we cripple our own farmers with taxation, take away their land, make them rewild land that
Yeah.
was productive farmland,
Yeah.
and at the same time give millions of pounds to farmers in other countries.
Yeah.
It's a ludicrous situation.
But
But so much of the stuff that's happened and is happening now
Yeah.
seems to be deliberately designed
Yeah.
to anger anybody that sees it. I mean, they put up national insurance for employers,
Yeah.
and then have told people that the next wave of Indian immigrants won't have to pay national insurance.
Amazing.
Rightly so, even the general population are now getting annoyed,
Yeah.
getting angry.
Yeah.
And I see groups like yours
Yeah.
and other groups as well. I mean, I'm all for pulling together and supporting other groups, and there is Patriotic Alternative that isn't a political organisation,
Yeah.
pushing in the same direction, highlighting and talking about issues that the general population are just starting
Yeah.
to get annoyed about.
Yeah.
Even the chickens agree.
The chickens are very annoyed today. Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, for me, it's. I'm a natural optimist, and since 2020, I've had very little optimism. And it's you know, the first 2 years since 2020, I was in a dark place. You know, really angry. Just it was either sheer anger or just sheer, not depression, but not far off. You know, really does affect you. And I'm a natural optimist and don't see much optimism. But I'm not going to give up without a fight. And at the moment, the fight is to try and wake up as many people as possible, let people know what's going on, and so we can hopefully shift that Overton window so that hopefully a movement will come along, a political party will come along, or whatever else, that can hopefully take us down a different path.
I think we'll disagree on that one, and that's fine.
I understand, and I get you,
Yep.
and I absolutely do, and I think the odds of a political party coming along are quite slim, but we've got to do
We live
something.
in hope.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
No, you're right. We
You
do
know.
have to do something. And the reason I agreed to talk with you, one, I like the stuff, the content you put out, but two is, it's absolutely vital that first step
Yeah.
is taken in any
Yeah.
movement, and the first step is talking.
Yeah.
The minute you say to yourself, there's no point talking to, people that aren't involved, no point talking to people who aren't awake, no point talking to the normies, you cut out 90% of the people.
Easy.
More than that,
Yeah.
99%.
Yeah.
It's vital that we talk to people,
Yeah.
that we're able to explain our point of view,
Yeah.
and that we listen to what they say as well. Listen to what these people say and the arguments they put back against you, right? And don't try and argue if you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Go away, listen to some more content, read up on whatever you need to read up on, okay? Because the fact is we're right, okay?
Yeah.
What's happening today in this country will lead us to a very dark place. The first step is start talking to people. It's how everything begins. I'm not sure waiting for a political group to emerge would end up with us in the right place.
I understand.
But it's still important that we start talking to people, because if we can change perception
Yeah.
and we can change the way people think,
Yeah.
then there's a possibility that change is possible.
Yes.
How that happens, I mean, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah. I know.
And that's really about showing people that there is an alternative way to living,
Yeah.
really, which is not outsourcing everything to government, not outsourcing everything to global corporations,
Yeah.
that taking responsibility and power back
Yeah.
is an important thing, and that we can do things ourselves
Yeah.
within the law. What you're doing, I think, is the first step on changing the minds of thousands of people. Because if you don't stop talking, if you continue to talk to people, there's a ripple effect. They start talking to people, and you'll get to your 100,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we can get 100,000 people having the sort of conversations that we want on a daily basis with strangers, within 10 days, 1 million people are covered. And Bob down the pub has had a conversation with someone on 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, here's a similar conversation, and then 4 weeks later, something else, and it starts to hopefully get in.
And eventually, it's Bob having that conversation with other people, because the last 5 people he's spoken to have all mentioned that, immigration's a problem, the financial system's a problem, the government's a problem. Once he hears that from 4 or 5 different people, that now becomes his point of view as well.
Yeah.
People will take a path of least resistance, and if that's what everyone around them is saying, then that's what they'll end up saying.
Yeah, but it's for us, it was really identifying, looking at the marketplace, as it were, the marketplace of ideas, and seeing, well, where are the gaps? And there's lots of people talking, there's lots of people having conversations, but we didn't see anyone who was encouraging one-to-one conversations. We didn't see anyone who was saying, that maybe we can shift the Overton window this way. And like I say, because we don't ask for anyone's details, we're not an organisation, we don't ask for membership, we don't ask for money, even the YouTube channel's not monetised,
you wouldn't make a lot.
Exactly, but well, my last video, I mean, about the Church of England. Oh, you're right.
It's all right. There's a fly in me drink.
The last video, Church of England, when I saw it,
really well.
80,000 views,
yeah.
And I appreciate it was recorded on Easter Sunday, and the interesting part, though, of course, is YouTube recommended that because I was having a go at Christianity.
Yeah, of course.
Or that's how it was seen. If it was a different religion, maybe it wouldn't have been recommended.
Maybe it would have been banned.
Exactly, or withdrawn altogether. But that's fair enough. But it's really, men taking responsibility, not worrying about, not letting fear hold them back, going out, remembering who we are, being proud of who we are, and actually saying that we can take responsibility, we can make a difference. It's the old saying, isn't it? There's nothing we can do, says 40 million people.
Exactly that. And I kind of understand there will be people in your comment section saying it's a lost cause.
Oh, yeah.
There's no point talking to these people. They're all brain dead. They're not.
No.
That's the fact.
They're just plugged into the system.
They're plugged into the wrong system, and they're hearing the wrong message.
Yeah. Military grade mind control.
It's hard to battle against it, but it's a step we have to take. I completely agree. Long term, I'm much the same as you. I think we win this long term. I don't think the British will allow themselves to be subjugated. But it's important that they know who they can talk to.
Yeah.
When they do wake up, they need people around that are pointing in the right direction. And if everybody's just shutting up and being quiet, they'll think they're on their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to stand out like a light in the darkness, to be honest, for these people to be drawn to when they do realise the severity of the situation we're in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talk about remigration of 15 million people. That's what we talk about. And it's not because we hate anyone. It's based purely on birth rates, and it's based purely on the amount of people that have come to the country very quickly over a short period of time. And it's not, I think India should be full of Indians. I think Pakistan should be full of Pakistanis. I think Germany full of Germans and everything else.
Proper diversity.
Exactly.
Global diversity.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
these are words that, our government should understand, a globally diverse.
Yeah.
But
you'll never get another white mayor of London as it sits, will you?
no.
And the reason why, because non-white people vote for people who look like them.
Yes.
And that's natural.
Of course. and this, I mean, I've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
All ethnicities tend to do this,
Yeah.
including the English and the British.
Yeah.
There's parts of Spain that are basically small English towns.
Yeah.
And I completely understand it, because when these people moved over to Spain, they loved the area,
Yeah.
and but there was no pub selling Sunday dinners. So
Yeah.
an English person buys the pub,
Yeah.
and they start selling Sunday dinners. And
Yeah.
there's no English books, so someone opens up an English bookshop.
Yeah.
And there's there's nowhere does karaoke. Someone opens an English karaoke bar, although karaoke's not English.
It's
is it?
Japanese. Yeah.
But these things happen. Now the Spanish haven't really got a major problem, because the people in those areas are well behaved,
Yeah.
culturally and ethnically very similar,
Yeah.
and they tend to look after each other.
Yeah.
That's not the situation we've got here in the UK, but all ethnicities do this.
Yeah.
So when a different ethnicity comes to the UK, they will tend to replicate
Yeah.
the area they've come from.
Yeah.
You only need to look at where they've come from to say that that is undesirable.
Yeah.
We don't want England to look like India,
Yeah.
or Somalia,
No.
or Afghanistan,
Yeah. Or Iraq. Or
or
Pakistan.
or anywhere else.
Or-
We would like England to be like the Cotswolds,
Yeah.
or Wiltshire, or small villages in the north.
Yeah.
We have such a beautiful country,
Yeah.
and
It's worth fighting for.
it certainly is.
Worth fighting for.
Certainly is.
Yeah. Well, I think that's more. We could go on, couldn't we? We could talk and talk and talk, but I think it's almost time for the pub. So I appreciate it,
Certainly.
Simon. I really do, and it's really good of you to invite us down. I really, really do appreciate it. And if
It's
we
been
could,
my pleasure, and I will certainly push people towards your YouTube channel.
thank you. And if there's anything we can do to help you, you let us know, because we're more than happy
Cheers.
to oblige with that. And
And thank you for watching, you lot.
yeah, appreciate it. Nice to meet you all.